My brother told me, he's like, well, you got a little activity, maybe you should sweep some of those dead bees away. And I pulled the reducer off, the entrance reducer, I swept them, and when they came out like that, I was just like, wow! It is super windy. Today is our first great taste of like that spring weather. It's been nice kind of all weekend really. Yesterday it got up to like the 50s. We woke up today and it was in the 50s. It's starting to cool down a little bit, but I get to see some activity at the beehive and I'm super pumped. So I've been wanting to keep bees for quite a few years, and we finally took the dive into it a couple years ago, and I've had all sorts of adventures since that started. First, there was my first spring with the bees. They did a number where they swarmed on me, and they swarmed really high up into one of the big trees in our yard, our giant maple tree we have. And we lost a lot of our hive that very first year to that swarm. It was a massive swarm, and I tried to do all sorts of crazy stuff. I ran to my dad's place, which is like 25 minutes away. I grabbed a new box and everything. I was gonna try to get them out of the tree, go coax them down into it. None of that happened. It didn't work out, and we did lose them, but we were able to recover, and our hive definitely looked pretty good in the first year, and we had a pretty decent year actually. That is being packed. Some honey. Ooh, they are going to town on that one.
With it on the top of her thorax. Where she drifted off to. Right there.
And after that first year, that's when we got into kind of cleaning this whole area up and really making a nice little apiary area for us. You can see I put it between my greenhouse. I have a fence in the back there, and there's the back of my garage, and we have this little makeshift gate thing that I made here, and it makes it work really good with my kids. It keeps them out of the area. It kind of keeps them out of like the elements in the winter. So my first year with these bees, when it came to winter, I made a few kind of big mistakes. One of my mistakes was that although I thought I was taking a lot of precaution by putting foam board around this and taping it up and everything, I had way too many boxes on here. So when it came to it and they started using up those resources, they couldn't replenish any of them, and there was so much space that they had to heat up that it really did not do any good for them. So they didn't make it through the first winter, and I came out here. We started over last year. We had some issues throughout the year, just little things, but for the most part, it was pretty smooth sailing. I did something that I didn't do that first year. The first year I checked on them a lot. I did a lot of work inside that hive. Last year, I did a lot less. I didn't go in there as often. I checked it when I thought it really needed it. I added boxes because I would catch it like that. I timed it out a lot better. I did a lot better job on my end when it came to actually keeping the bees last year. So when it came into the winter, I was kind of like, all right, what am I going to do this year different than last year? And I was going to foam wrap it like I did before and do all this stuff. And then I started watching a lot of other videos and things like that, and I kind of got a different idea of what I was going to do. Well, for my second winter, the plan was I was going to foam wrap it and do all the same stuff I did last year, the first year. I didn't get to it, and then it kind of got to the point where it was already cold, and I was kind of thinking like they had a lot of resources in there. The top two boxes were full of honey, pretty much all capped honey, so I really knew they had a lot of storage, stored up stuff for themselves that I thought they could make it through the winter on that compared to what I had last year. I had about the same amount, but I had a box above them that was sort of started but not really, they never really made it up into. So that's where the gave them too much space kind of came into play. And so I was debating on what I was going to do, and then I ended up just I'm leaving it how it is with the 2 full boxes on top. Man, that wind is something else, knocking stuff over everywhere. And then the bottom box was all like their brood box area, and then the second box they had a little bit of a mixture. So with that setup, I just kind of let it sit through the winter. Obviously the bees did most of the work closing off the hive. I just made sure that they had, you know, way in and out, and that was it. I just thought I'm gonna let them go this winter, and we'll see if that's any better. Kind of like a more natural type way of keeping them instead of trying to coddle them a little too much. I thought, why don't I just kind of let them do their own thing and see how that works out. Now you can see from that little bit of footage right there that it worked out pretty well, because when I went to sweep some of the dead bees off the front, I pulled the little entrance reducer off, and I was going to sweep some of those dead ones out because just kind of want to get an idea of where they're at without opening the actual hive. When I did that, that's what happened. A lot of them came out, and I've seen we have a very, very strong hive going into, well, the spring here. So we're probably not out of the woods completely when it comes to winter. We probably still have one more snowfall here in Michigan. It's kind of how it works, you know, but it is getting to the point of being warmer. Our hive looks very healthy going into the spring, so I'm happy. I'm super excited. I am pumped. I feel like I've actually accomplished a ton this year when it comes to the bees because we got them all the way through winter, it looks like. I mean, that's a super strong looking hive. Actually, I'm gonna go do another swipe with that brush and try to get some more of those dead bees out, and we'll see what happens in the entrance here. I guess another, I'm assuming a whole bunch will come out again and greet us. Like the first time overwintering, obviously only my second winter with bees, but to get them to overwinter in the second winter in a pretty challenging climate here in Michigan. We're pretty cold. It gets really cold during the winter, and we get quite a bit of snow. I mean, it's I just feel really excited about what is the possibility of having that colony make it through the winter, to have a hive to start with in the spring that's already fairly strong and fairly big, and they're going to be out going and ready to take off as soon as spring starts. So, oh my gosh, I'm so pumped about it. Like, this is something I've wanted for a long time, and I was really discouraged last year when we didn't get them through the winter, and to see like that kind of mass loss, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like it's pretty brutal to see it, and then like to realize like you know, like they didn't make it, and it's kind of your responsibility because you volunteered to take care of them, which is what we do as beekeepers. We're volunteering to take care of these guys and do our best. So I really felt like I let them down, and I let myself down, because, you know, it's an investment and you lost all your investment. But that's it. That's all I got for you. A little bee talk. A little bit of bee talk before we get into the actual bee season and harvesting some honey. Well, we got a long ways to go before that. But I do have some frames set aside for these guys from last year. I kept some, so I'm gonna check them, you know, early in the year, obviously, when it gets a lot warmer than it is. Like 50's warm, but 50 and really windy like it is this weekend. It's like nice, but not for them. So we gotta wait till it gets like, you know, 60 some odd degrees, then we can actually crack it open and see what it looks like. Maybe we can give them a few frames of some capped honey to help them get going for the spring. But I am super excited about opening that thing and seeing what it's like. Well, that's all I got for you guys. Remember to be bold, grow bold, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. I'm out.